Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're skipping the usual career checklists. We're going straight to, well, the core mechanics of professional success. Our mission today, we've got a stack of sources on soft skills, those really crucial human abilities, and we want to mesh them directly with the specific English you need. We're talking professional phrasal verbs, the kind that help you sound capable, confident when you're using those skills.
That's exactly right. For a long time, I think people saw soft skills as maybe nice to haves, secondary to the technical stuff.
Yeah.
But what our research is showing really clearly is that the modern workplace, well, knowing how to code or build a spreadsheet isn't much use if you can't handle let's say, the messy parts of working with other people.
Right.
Soft skills are essentially those personal and interpersonal abilities, things like communication, empathy, working in a team, adaptability, solving problems. They're the framework for everything else, really.
And what we want to show you today is that you can't really talk about emotional intelligence effectively without having the right words for it. So we're not just listing 8 phrases. Think of them as 8 strategic shortcuts to better communication, stronger relationships, and ultimately getting better results at work.
Exactly. The goal today is a practical masterclass. How do you integrate the internal skill, the soft skill itself, with the external professional language?
Okay.
So let's jump in. First stage of any professional interaction, that initial assessment and how you set the scene for clear communication.
Okay, let's unpack that. How do we sort of instantly process things, our surroundings, the people? And that leads us to our first phrasal verb, to size up something or somebody.
Yes, signs up. It's about that immediate, almost intuitive judgment. You're quickly forming an opinion or an assessment of a person or maybe a situation. And this is just fundamental as a soft skill because, let's face it, today's professional world moves fast. You need quick, informed judgment. You often don't have weeks to analyze before making a call.
Yeah, and I think the key thing here is that sizing up isn't necessarily negative judgment, is it? It's more like rapid situational awareness. Our sources pointed out that recruiters, for instance, they often size up candidates in the first few minutes. They're looking at composure, confidence, how you handle something unexpected. It's a quick check on soft skills.
Exactly. It's about perception. And once you've done that internal check, you've sized up the audience or the task ahead, you then need to communicate your thoughts clearly. Which brings us neatly to our second verb, to lay out something.
Okay, so layout. Everyone knows how to explain things right. But what makes laying out different, maybe better, in a professional setting?
Well, I think it signals organization and respect. To lay out something means you're explaining or presenting information clearly, yes, but also, and this is critical, in an organized, often step-by-step way. When you successfully lay out a complex plan, you're not just proving you know the material, you're demonstrating the soft skill of clarity, and you're respecting your team's ability to process information. You're not just dumping it on them.
That's a great point. It's about providing structure, which is a form of leadership, really. I like the example you mentioned, the project manager who laid out the plan step by step. Everyone knew their part. Because if you can't organize your own thoughts and lay them out clearly, even the best idea or solution might just fall flat. Nobody can follow your logic.
Mm-hmm. And that clarity needs to come with respect. Communication really breaks down the moment someone feels, belittled or diminished. And this takes us to our third verb in this section, to talk down to somebody.
Which is pretty straightforward, unfortunately. It just means speaking to someone as if they're less intelligent or less important than you are.
And it's a massive failure of that soft skill of respectful communication. Our sources really hammered this point. Leaders who consistently talk down to their team members, they kill psychological safety. They build walls, not bridges. An effective leader gets that. Communicating with respect, no matter the job title, is absolutely crucial for keeping good people and building real trust.
Yeah, it's the ultimate professional blunder, really. Avoiding it shows basic emotional maturity. Okay, so we've covered how to size up a situation, lay out your ideas respectfully, and crucially, not talk down to people. But now comes the trickier part, navigating team dynamics. This is where collaboration can get messy and where that high-level emotional intelligence really counts.
Right. This is where we shift gears a bit.
Yeah.
From being proactive in our communication to being more, let's say, reactively aware. And the key here is perception, which brings us to our next verb, to pick up on something.
Pick up on. This one feels like it's all about the subtleties, doesn't it? It means noticing, understanding something that isn't explicitly stated, reading between the lines or reading the room.
Exactly that. It's empathy in action, maybe the highest form of it in the workplace. Think about the example. The manager who picked up on the team's frustration, It wasn't loud complaining, just a vibe maybe. And they decided to address it proactively. If you lack that empathetic soft skill, you just won't pick up on those subtle cues, the body language, the tone shifts, the unspoken stuff. You just carry on, oblivious.
And the danger of missing those cues is pretty significant. If you fail to pick up on those underlying issues, they don't just vanish, they tend to simmer, right? Until they eventually boil over into a real crisis, which inevitably means you need to resolve conflict. And that leads us perfectly to our next key phrase, to iron out differences.
Iron out differences, yes.
Yeah.
This is where conflict management skills become really practical. To iron out differences means you're actively discussing and resolving disagreements or problems. Think about smoothing out wrinkles in fabric. It implies a process to get things aligned again.
And it definitely takes patience. And real listening. You think about those classic tensions between departments like marketing and sales, or maybe engineering and product teams. They often have different goals, different priorities. The example we had was perfect. The marketing and sales teams meeting specifically to iron out their differences about messaging before a big campaign launch. They had to get on the same page.
And the soft skill there isn't about avoiding conflict that's impossible, really. It's about engaging with it constructively. You have to be willing to actually sit down, listen properly to the other side, and actively work to iron out those differences. So the whole team, the whole project, can move forward smoothly. It's an active verb, needs an active skill. So if we zoom out a bit and connect these ideas, all these interactions we've talked about, sizing things up, communicating clearly, handling disagreements, they all build towards one absolutely vital professional asset: trust. Trust is really the bedrock of a functioning workplace. So let's focus now on the soft skills that create that trust: reliability, patience, and professional resilience.
Okay, trust. And reliability really starts with doing what you say you'll do. Follow through. So our first term in this critical section is to follow through on something.
Yes, follow through. This might be the single most important indicator of accountability. It just means completing something you promised or planned to do. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But genuine reliability, that reputation, it's earned over time. One commitment met, then another, then another.
Oh, definitely. I think we've all experienced that colleague who, enthusiastically volunteers for something in a meeting and it just vanishes. They forget or they drop the ball. If you say you'll handle that research or deliver that report, you absolutely have to follow through on that commitment.
Sure.
That's how you build a strong reputation. Consistently failing to follow through, it erodes trust faster than almost anything else.
Absolutely right. But even the most reliable people hit snags sometimes, right? Technical glitches, delays from elsewhere, maybe even personal stuff. And this is where another soft skill becomes important from the other side: patience, which is expressed perfectly with the phrase, to bear with somebody.
Bear with. Yeah, that's a great one for managing expectations, isn't it? It basically means asking someone to be patient while you're taking a bit longer, or maybe dealing with a delay, or even making small mistakes while you're learning.
Precisely. You hear it quite often, don't you? Especially with tech issues.
Yeah.
Please bear with me while I just get these documents uploaded.
Yeah.
But the soft skill link is deeper. It shows adaptability and managing stress on your side. Being able to politely ask someone to bear with you is good self-advocacy. And on the flip side, having the patience to bear with a colleague who's struggling instead of just piling on pressure, that shows real leadership potential.
That's true. It creates a bit of space for being human. Okay, but let's face it, not all workplace interactions are supportive. Sometimes you face challenges directly, maybe from a competitive colleague or in a tough interview situation. This brings us to resilience and our final phrasal verb for today: to trip up somebody.
To trip up somebody? Yeah, this one sounds a bit negative, and it often is. It means causing someone to make a mistake or confusing them, sometimes intentionally, maybe as a test. It really throws the spotlight on the soft skill of keeping your composure when you're under pressure.
The classic example, like you said, is that aggressive interviewer who's probing for weaknesses. The sources describe that scenario. The interviewer tried to trip her up with really difficult rapid-fire questions, but the candidate managed to stay calm, stay confident.
Exactly. And the key soft skill here isn't necessarily avoiding ever being tripped up. Look, everyone stumbles occasionally. It's about how quickly and effectively you recover. It's demonstrating that resilience, being able to pause, maybe take a breath, gather your thoughts, and stay clear and focused even when someone's trying to derail you. That composure, that resilience, that's what separates okay performance from truly professional presence. So if we look back at all 8 of these verbs together, you start to see they form a kind of linguistic skeleton, don't they? for these core professional behaviors. They're not just random phrases. They actually track the typical life cycle of a successful collaboration, from that initial gut feeling when you size up a client, to the clarity needed to lay out a complex plan, right through to the sheer accountability required to follow through. They all help you articulate these crucial soft skills more effectively.
Yeah, the real power here, I think, is recognizing that learning these specific phrasal verbs gives you the precise language to demonstrate your soft skills more efficiently. It makes you sound more polished, more professional. They're the tools, the linguistic tools that help you build trust, manage conflict better, and show resilience. You're essentially shortcutting the need to explain your capabilities you're showing them through your language.
Which leads us with a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over.
Yeah.
We talked quite a bit about the importance of following through on what you promise,
Yeah.
and also about the need to pick up on those subtle, unspoken things in team interactions.
Right. So think back. Your last significant team meeting, maybe earlier this week. Was there a small unspoken frustration, maybe a hint of concern about a deadline or a process that someone mentioned indirectly, something you might have failed to pick up on at the time? And now, considering how vital reliability is, remember following through. What specific action could you follow through on this week to address that quiet issue before it potentially grows into something bigger?
It's worth thinking about. Your professional success often hinges on noticing and acting on exactly those things.